have released the dog. I'm Lil Rick the gamer, do it 100% gamer, bro. No one else work hard, I will do it for the gamers. Yo, can't contain my flow. I need to play a game for sure. Maybe RTS or RPG or maybe even MMO.
Gamer Dude 2088, and we're back for another Skylanders Ring of Heroes video. And it's time to go back to square one, episode 2. I probably should stop saying episode because it's about to get crazy on what episode is what and when and where, who and how. Alright, but anyway. Alright, we're still at the very beginning and everything because there's still a lot of things to go over. Some things that I didn't put in the first video, and if you haven't saw that, you should check that out because it's the intro into everything that we're going to be talking about for both of these accounts. So we have here on Gummy Puff, I believe it is, where it says use a blue potion. And on a villain. Villains are going to be a really important thing. I know a lot of people are going to tell you, just build Gopher. Gopher's the best, but did anybody forget about Broccoli Guy? All of that stuff? Or are you going to start out with Chompy, and then you're going to get enough pieces to be able to get your Broccoli Guy summon? Just go ahead, get Broccoli Guy going for the start, but we're going to move on to other villains later on down the line. But when you're starting out, you're just going to go ahead, summon up your Broccoli, because we haven't done that. And we need a blue potion. We have to do it 3 times. So don't make the mistake I did during this quest where we just did 3 potions all at once. No, you need to do 1 potion at a time. I don't get it, but that's just the way it works. To do just like that. And unlike your Skylanders, where you can get experience during battles, your villains don't get experience. So through the adventure, you would acquire your potions. Keep every single one of the potions that you have because you're going to need them to level up your villains. And your villains are going to play a really niche role, but a really important niche role in your composition and as you level and everything moving forward. So we're going to go ahead and put Broccoli Guy on the team. We also have spot for spectators. Spectators don't get as much experience as the guys that's in the fight, but they do get some experience after each battle, long as you can have something in your spectator slot. So we're just going to go ahead and throw Stink Bomb in there for now and let them do battle. So down here on Gum Gum Gum, we have enter any elemental dungeon from the distorted dimensions once. So we're going to talk a little bit about the elements and the elemental dungeons while we go over everything. So each day you do have an assortment of elements and elemental dungeons. It's a bunch of them. It's kind of confusing at first, but I'm gonna break it down, do my best to make it as simple as possible. Yeah, might as well leave her as simple as possible for you. Do we have, no, we didn't summon on this one yet, so yeah, we'll just do it like that. Okay, as we move forward and into everything. All right, so right now we don't have an element that's important, but here, this is where you get your ore, your ore and your elixirs that you're gonna need to power up your Skylanders as they move forward to make them stronger. You're gonna also need them. You're also going to need ore for your talents, which is going to come later on down the line. We're going to talk about those in a later video as well. A lot of things to kind of engage upon and do. And so for your basic elements, you have life, water, fire, and air. Now those are your basic 4 elements, but there's also 4 more elements which are pretty much the same, and it will be earth, tech, magic, and undead. Now with those, it seems confusing and everything, but they don't do anything special. It's pretty much 2 elements to 1. So life and earth is the same element, life and earth, and I will show you after the battle and everything. Water and tech is the same. fire and magic is the same, and air and undead is the same. So I usually refer to everything by the base element of life, water, fire, and air. So even if I'm talking about undead, I would say air, and even if I'm talking about earth, I would say life, or rather I would say earth before I would say life. I just don't get it. I think earth should have been in there and life should have been the other way around. So I'll probably say earth rather than saying life for earth and life, and I would say water rather than saying tech, and I would say fire rather than saying magic, just because they all the same. Then light and dark, pretty much just like in any other gacha, light and dark do their own thing in a whole nother place. So we're gonna go ahead and collect our quests. Don't forget, do your quests. They're so important. You get a bunch of resources, everything that's going to help you progress and move forward faster. I hope I'm not speaking too fast for anybody. If I am, please do leave a comment in the comment section below. You can always catch me in my Discord. That will be in the description box below, and you can leave me a message there. If you can't find me, you can always go into the Skylanders Discord, which you can go into your events tab. Since we're here, we go into the events tab, and you can scroll and you can click on here and go into the Discord, and you can @GamerDude2088. That's GAMERDUDE 2088. Yeah, talking to you, Tech Tone. And you could go ahead and find me that way as well. So let's go ahead and look at the elements. All right. What do I click on for that? Because I forgot. Okay, no, let's back out. I could have did it that way too. So here we go. Now here's like the element tab. You see light and dark like this. Then you see life and earth. They're the same. Water and tech is the same. Fire and magic is the same. Air and undead is the same. And then it shows you what's strong and what's weak. It's completely confusing at first, but if you can remember what works, what is the same with each other, it makes it easier for you to be able to determine what's weak against what's strong against what. So you can always go back to this video and figure it out. So it's life and earth, water and tech, fire and magic, air and undead. Again, life and earth, water and tech, fire and magic, air and undead. Okay, so we done with terrible songs. So now that we got this out the way, one thing that's going to be important for you to have and going and moving forward is going here through this little section in your social tab here, the friends list. You're just going to click add and click as many people as you can. If they get inactive for too many days, you can boot them and add more people, but you want to add as many friends as you can. They're going to be important to have, not only for wish stones, but for your dungeon farming later on down the road, which we will also cover in another video, because we got so much to talk about. Man, you just don't know, like, there's so much to this game. It's unbelievable, man. Can you see the passion in my eyes right now? Like, I really love this game, man. Come to us. You guys did an amazing job in the way that they, communicate and try to get things together with the community. It's a beautiful thing, man. You don't have this in any other gacha on the market. Like, your voice can be and will be heard. It's like everything, we can't get what we want. We can't get it every time when we want it. But if there's an issue, we can always reach out to their community managers. And when they do their streams on every other Friday, we can always reach out, talk to them, let them know what's going on, how we feel about the game as a whole, and continue to go. So we're going to claim some of our rewards here. As you complete and get your 3 stars all the way to max on each stage, you have rewards for each stage and on every difficulty as well. These are going to be critically important moving forward. Don't worry if you can't complete something and get the 3 stars, so you can't get it. You can always grind, get stronger, come back later and do it then. So we're going to click here in our little items slot section and everything. We do have a few things that we can just pick out and grab, so we're gonna claim some stuff right now. We're gonna do it for both because I was holding them and not claiming too much of any of this to when we start. And actually, since we're here and we're like pretty far in, we're gonna go ahead and get some of these gems that we have for each one, and we're gonna do collect our gems, and we're gonna do our first summons that we need to do to get our free 5-star. Now, before it really mattered what 5-star that you have, but now in the way the game is, the 5-star you start off with doesn't really matter as much, because everything in this game is kind of farmable to some degree, and you can still get a good 5-star to start off with, which will help you. So here you got these ultra premium summons. After your first 3 summons, you're gonna get a free nat 5. After that, you won't use any more gems to do summons unless you are the type of person that like to spend money in this game. Then by all means, do what you can, do how you feel. But if you are free to play, you F2P players, you're only gonna do it this one time, because wasting your gems to summon is not good. You want to use them to be able to get yourself more fights, more runs. Ooh, Nightfall. Ooh, Nightfall. I get Nightfall on this account early. Nice. I think I might even use a Nightfall. We might use Nightfall on this account. I like that. We're not going to summon Nightfall right away though. Ooh, look at that Wham Bam. That's going to be nice to have. That's going to be nice to have. Okay. So some good things on both accounts. So just skip through as we can. Get us some 5-stars. I think we had 5 stars on both but we get pieces. Unlike other games where you just summon and get the actual characters, you get pieces. And if you get lightning procs like we did on some of them, you get the chance to summon them. So I believe 3 stars you need 2. What's it? 1 stars is like 10 or 20, or 2 stars is 25. Okay, so I think it's like 20 for 1 stars, 25 for 2 stars, 30 for 3 stars, 40 for 4 stars, and 50 for 5 stars to summon. Them, and pieces all the pieces you get after that, you're going to use to power them up and get them stronger. So we can only hope to get lightning procs on the things that we want, but we don't know what we want so far, do we? No, but we're going to get into that. Ooh, look at that extra proc on Eruptor. I want to say rip to that, because I haven't heard too many good things about Eruptor so far in this game. So we're going to claim our reward. Hopefully we can get something great, and we're going to talk about, if you are the type of person to like to re-roll for nat 5s, what nat 5s to re-roll for, because there are some nat 5s that you can re-roll for. So we get Stormblade, which is actually pretty great to have for progression, and Pit Boss on the other. A really niche 5-star to use. He's strong, but not exactly important to have early on. But we're going to summon the Stormblade on I believe this Gummy Puff, but Gum, we're not going to summon Pit Boss because we don't really need him. We don't exactly need Stormblade on Gummy Puff, but we're gonna go ahead and go with that. It's so funny though, because all the progression, it was funny because I was doing a challenge with my good buddy Anabrax, and I wanted Stormblade for the progression. It's literally on this account. I rewrote a million times, but I had other stuff that I had going on, dealing with family and things like that, so I'm not going to really get too deep into my personal life. If you know me, and you know me, you already know what's happening. If you don't know me, then it doesn't really matter as much. But had all of that, and I could not get Stormblade rerolling because I wanted to do the progression with Stormblade, and it's so funny that I get him. So he's going to actually be somewhat of a part of this progression, even though he's not important to have. You don't need him. I'm just going to kind of use him and kind of explain it. So speaking of, we can now go to some of the... Let's go to Skylanders section here. We're going to just do that. Go into our Skylander box, and I'm going to go over some of what I believe personally are some of the best nat 5s that you can start off with that will help you in progression. And we're going to start here with Life and our buddy Ambush. Ambush got some pretty unique skills that can dish out some good damage. One thing that is different from this gacha from others that there's no speed stat, so you're running off of your cooldown timers and the cost of mana. In battle, you have a mana bar, which is the max of 10. You generally start off with 8 to boot. It recovers, and I'm not sure exactly how many seconds. How many per second or whatever, but it regenerates over time. When you defeat something in battle, you get 2 mana back. There's other ways to manipulate that mana, and you have an initial cooldown as soon as the fight start, and the cooldown after the skill is used. Now with Ambush, he's one of the ones that we would consider pretty mana efficient because you can use both his first skill and his third skill, which this only costs 1 mana, and this costs no mana, and it's a charge skills. Charge skills never cost any mana, but they have to charge up for 9 seconds before activation. He does have a 5 mana skill, which is pretty expensive, but the initial cooldown is relatively slow, and the cooldown afterwards is the initial cooldown is relatively fast, and the cooldown afterwards is pretty fast. So you can use it frequently, but you probably won't have a lot of mana. But since he's pretty mana efficient with the other skills, that makes him kind of beneficial as well. He has a bunch of skills that you could choose from that could help him, as well as a decent passive. But let's move on to the next one. In water here, we don't have anything in water that we would want specifically for our early game progression if we were to choose. Spitfire is another strong one that he has a lot of usage early on. Then there's a drop off point, but I think that drop off point will, in the way the game works now, will kind of not happen the same way, if even at all, and will be really strong later on down the line where you're running your Beast 10 dungeons and lots of PvP usage and everything like that. So he's also a mana efficient unit. His cooldowns are relatively long, but even with these long cooldowns, he doesn't use a lot of your mana, and his skills help him. Plus, he has a leader skill that can give you extra crit damage, which doesn't mean nothing early on, but later down the line is going to be beneficial. He gives you a chance to get an attack up for everything, so I'm buffing your attack for your for all of your Skylanders as soon as the battle starts. With a 60% chance, is going to be beneficial and is going to help you clear ways, get damage, be strong, and a really great unit to start off with. I would say Amber is pretty decent early on as well. She's not exactly the most progression use unit, but she does do a lot. She does do a lot in a few areas, so you wouldn't exactly focus her, but I wouldn't be upset if I pulled her if she was your first. Not your go-to, but definitely decent. The same thing with Wildstorm. He's not going to be like your go-to start off at the beginning of progression here, but this is another unit that is pretty mana heavy. He wants all your mana, like all his skills are costly, but he packs a punch and will be a beast to have in PvP later on down the line. But Stormblade is another one that's really strong early on as well as late game, with his ability to clear waves, his ability to clear people defenses, his abilities to clear somebody's offense while you're trying to clear that defense. Just so much that goes on in Stormblade's kit. He's really strong, and if you have him, he will be he's probably have been the best unit to pull for your progression early on in speed progression. If you're a type of person that's trying to get to B7 in a day or something like that, he could do that for you. He could do that for you because he's just that strong of a unit to have early on. Tri-tip is really strong, but he's not going to be useful early on in the game. Same with Robo here. Robo is good. I think all the Net 5s, are decent to some extent, but not exactly every single one of them is good early on. Chain Reaction is also a great one, a beast when it comes to Beast 9. He destroys it. He also has great potential as well, and the Welling 10 dungeon, so he's going to be a good one to have. He's going to be decent early, but not the best early on. But as you get into your mid tier into progression, he's going to come in and become really strong, and then into your later progression, he's going to be extremely strong for you to have. So if you pull this guy, you're definitely got a treat on your hands. Now moving on to the magic, I don't really know much about Blaster Mine because this was one of the new ones that got added in, and I didn't hear anything good from a good buddy of mine. Shout out to my dude Breeza on the server. But he didn't really like his Blaster Mine too much. He said he's going to probably go back and put some kind of work into him just to really see if he does kind of do something. Mr. Cat is another one that's pretty decent. Can catch you off guard in PvP if you don't know much about Mr. Cat, but not something that you want early on in your progression, but definitely good to have. Buckshot, the same way. He's can do some insane damage, but not exactly the progression unit. He will start off okay, but he will fall off really hard until he comes back in like really strong, because his AoE isn't much of any damage, but his single target is beastly. You're an undead, like I was saying about Pit Boss. Pit Boss has really niche usages. One of those ones that's not exactly the best to start off with, but okay to have. I don't think you can get any of the light or dark ones, but if you happen to get any light and dark Nat 5, you win, because they're all great. Even if they're not good for progression, they still all are extremely good. But if I have to say, if there was one that will help you for progression, I would go with Starcast here. Starcast doesn't really start off strong, but at the current state of the game can be beastly for you to have going forward, as well as if you were to get Astral Blast, another one that is it could help in progression to some degree, but not exactly where you want to go. We're going to go with more farmable, easy to obtain units as we move forward. So we are getting really deep and really far into our discussion here, so I'm going to cut it right here, and we're going to come back with another video talking about some more interesting and unique things along with your progression in Ring of Heroes. So if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Turn my post notifications on so you can be the first to view my content. Catch me live Monday through Thursday at Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, to whenever I feel like I'm done. And that's at twitch.tv/gamerdude2088. I struggled there and I almost have it, but I'm out. Deuces.